Under what conditions am I allowed to work in Austria? Who represents my interests in the labor market? And what is an employment relationship? These are the questions addressed in this Start Wien video. An employer is a person who employs others for regular pay. As an employee, you provide labor for a monthly salary. A distinction is made between manual workers who work physically and employees who work in an office, for example. Both are employed and have an employment relationship with an employer. The rights and obligations in the labor market are regulated, among other things, by labor law, collective agreements for the industry in which you work, and work agreements if there is a workers' council in your company. In Austria, there is also a strong interest group that stands up for your rights. The Chamber of Labor, the Arbeiterkammer, is the legal representation of interests of employees in Austria. Almost all employees automatically have Arbeiterkammer membership. They receive the best advice and support and pay a small monthly fee. The trade union is a voluntary representation whose parent organization is called the Österreichische Gewerkschaftsbund, Austrian Trade Union Confederation, ÖGB for short. Subunions negotiate collective agreements and advocate for the rights of their members. Anyone who wants to can join for a membership fee. If 5 or more people are employed in a company, a workers' council can be elected. This workers' council represents colleagues in the company. There is self-employment and employment. Self-employed means that you have your own company. You are not self-employed if you work for a company. In this case, you are in an employment relationship with an employer. Attention, even part-time, marginal, or short-term work must be registered. Any form of undeclared work is punishable by law. If you have an EU or EEA passport, you do not need a permit to work in Austria. The situation is very different for nationals from third countries. If you come from a third country, you need a residence permit with access to the labor market or a work permit that is limited in time. Only then are you allowed to live and work legally in Austria. This also applies to seasonal work, tourism, harvest assistance, or studies. In Austria, it is customary to work an 8-hour workday and a 40-hour work week. In special circumstances, it is permitted to work up to 12 hours per day and 60 hours per week. Depending on the working hours, a distinction is made. Full-time, if you work 40 hours per week. Collective agreements can shorten this normal working time. Overtime must be mandated by a supervisor and duly compensated with a supplement of 50%. Overtime can be paid out or taken as time off. Part-time is when an employee works less than full-time and is registered and insured for, say, 20 hours per week. Geringfügig Beschäftigte, or part-time marginal employees, are those who earn no more than a certain amount per month. They do not pay Social Security or income tax and are only insured against accidents. If you want to start your own business, it is best to contact the Wirtschaftskammer, Chamber of Commerce, at wko.at and Gründerservice.at. You will find a lot of information about registering a business and setting up a company. In addition, the Vienna Business Agency offers multilingual consultations and supports aspiring entrepreneurs. More at Wirtschaftsagentur.at. With an EU or EEA passport, you are allowed to establish a company in Austria. For regulated trades and crafts, you need a Gewerbeschein, a trade license, which you can get at the municipal office. If you come from a third country, you must meet certain requirements and need a residence permit as a self-employed person, proof that the company provides an economic added value and benefit for Austria. For example, if your profession is in high demand or you are creating jobs. More information for third country nationals can be found in our videos on the topic of right of residence.